Martial and Varane talks on, the boss confirms. Meanwhile, Sergio Reguilon is back where he came from. Welcome to the United Hotspot. Here is the Transfer Corner. My name is Webb, and let's get straight into it now. I'll start it off with the latest as Rafael Varane's talks are ongoing. The boss, Eric Ten Hag, has just confirmed that they are in talks, serious talks between the club and the player, Rafael Varane, on his future at Manchester United after entering the final stages of his contract that runs out on the 30th of June. Man United are still yet to come to a close agreement with Rafael Varane, who seems to be an important player when he's fit, but because of his injury situations, of course, obviously because he came with an injury, but also his aging. Man United have been insistent on lowering down his terms, but Varane has got to agree on whichever new terms United is offering now. There is no significant progress made yet on this, but Ten Hag has today confirmed that the talks are ongoing with Rafael Varane on his future. Reality is for me is that most likely he might stay until the end of the season because United know how important he is. Eric Ten Hag cannot afford now to lose him unless there is a proper serious bidder from wherever and the player allows to go. I think for me, chances are, from what we are seeing, reading between the lines, Rafael Varane could finish his contract at United, and they wait to see what goes on after that. Most likely, letting him go either for free or cashing in on him before if some money comes. Now, away from that, there's also confirmation from Eric Ten Hag that talks are ongoing between the club and Anthony Martial, and you would wonder what is there for Manchester United to discuss with Martial because you obviously know and you heard that they have opted against triggering his contract extension. It also runs out on the 30th of June. The reality is Manchester United must be communicating to him now that they want him out. So the talks are on, like the boss confirmed, but what will come out of those, we will get to know. Let's talk about the things that are clear now. What is clear is that this man, Sergio Reguilon, is headed back to Tottenham Hotspur. The club has confirmed that his loan spell has been cut short after he triggered his option to end it prematurely, I would say, because not because he was a bad player, really. In all honesty, Sergio Reguilon put in some good yards when he came on, but the fact that the players he was deputizing for are back in Luke Shaw and Tyrell Malacia, he's no longer required. So he has been sent back and it's official. Forget about Sergio Reguilon and say thank you. So he's officially back to Tottenham Hotspur, who maybe as well could be cashing in on him or pushing him to move on to another club, Borussia Dortmund being one of the destinations. Now, away from that one, Amad Diallo, who is becoming a popular figure at Manchester United, has dropped his first official interview as a Manchester United player. It has been released and he spoke about his transfer to Man United and how it came about. And of course, people were asking me whether Diallo will stay because we are in the habit of loaning players here and there, and we're talking about Michael Olise, and definitely people were worried thinking, are we going to loan Amad Diallo and bring in Michael Olise? I told you, Olise could be a plan for the summer, but it's being discussed now. But what we know is that Amad Diallo is in the big time plans of the club, and what has been what he has released today is interesting. He spoke about how his agent called him and he told him he was wanted by United and he didn't believe it, and he said, come on, you're kidding, and until he had to insist and told him yes, it is true. And he asked him to just bring the contract and he signed. So this player wanted to play for Man United, even at Atalanta, where he was likened to Lionel Messi. He was a star at Atalanta. He played. I told you he can play well as a number 10. He scored some important goals for Atalanta. When he just came on, I think he even scored on his debut. One of the youngest scorers in the Italian Serie A. Here he's a player on the rise. He's a player on the rise, and certainly Manchester United love to see it. And that's why I say, me hearing that United wants to sign Michael Olise, I'm thinking, what plan do they have for Amad Diallo? Because when he's fit, this boy is good enough to start. He's as good as any winger. And I love his mentality and humility. He's a humble player, giving kudos to Licha, Casemiro, and all the guys who helped him during his recovery. This is the mentality of a United player who can go on and shine and succeed because he loves to play football. Being linked to Messi, but he's saying, come on, there's no one who plays like Messi. That's respect out there. So, guys, Diallo is not going anywhere. People are asking me whether it's going or not. Though you can't say the same about Facundo Pellistri because several clubs do want to take Facundo Pellistri out on loan, and it is possible that he might go out depending on what exactly United has got to, what plans we've got to do with Anthony Dos Santos. It is possible that Facundo Pellistri could be sent out on loan, and it could be to a club in England. For me, I would love to see him stay in England because he has got a few minutes in England. You want to see him play for a club in England because of, not so many leagues out there have got the same intensity like England. If not in the top flight, let him go in the second division. But for me, I would love to see Facundo Pellistri. If he's loaned out, let him stay in England because it will improve him as a player. Now, one player who is definitely not staying in England is Jadon Sancho, because as we speak, it is almost going to be a here we go, him and his return to Borussia Dortmund, because as we know, it has been confirmed that the two clubs are in final stages of an agreement of a structure to his loan spell. For him, he's already excited and has already packed his bags ready to go and join Borussia Dortmund. But uh, United and the club are just, trying to finish a few things on, how much Borussia Dortmund is supposed to pay to meet on his wages, how much Borussia Dortmund should pay to Manchester United and stuff like that. Because I told you, United wants to milk as much money as they can from the 72 million we paid for him a few years ago to only to flop. We want to milk as much as we can for them to take him back on loan. Now, I think should be a win-win situation. United need Borussia Dortmund to offload this player who is surplus to requirements, but Borussia Dortmund as well do need him because they know what he can do. They saw what he did for them, and he's not being used now. So this might be one of the faster moves to happen. So that's the situation that we're having now. Of course, already in terms of players who are at United, we have already triggered contract extensions for Victor Lindelof. We have triggered a contract extension for Joe Hugill. He's a young player. Perhaps not many of you would know him, but his contract ends in 2026 now, plus 1 year option of an extension. We have triggered a contract extension for Hannibal Mabry as well, whereas he might be headed out on loan. He is, again, an important player for United. I love to see it. We are focused on keeping our youngsters, and I love to see it. So that's the situation with Manchester United. Wan-Bissaka's contract extension was also triggered. We are also going to talks with Wan-Bissaka for a new contract for him to be here and start Manchester United. So the work is being done on the squad. You love to see it. And this, for me, is what I wanted to see. First, work on those you have before you think about rushing into signing new players. So that's the situation. Now, finally, I told you yesterday that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was at Carrington and he had that meeting. Eric Ten Hag has confirmed that it was a good meeting with Sir Jim. It was an interesting meeting, he has confirmed, and they were on the same page on a lot of things, he says. They were on the same page on a lot of things. And I told you earlier in my earlier video, and some people were attacking me saying I'm saying fake news. I told you the things they do not agree to. They seem to be, in opposite ends, to, especially when it comes to this, how the boss is going to have a say in player signings. And that is an important thing because Ten Hag has confirmed today that they had a long meeting and it was a largely positive one. But the issue of players and how they are signed at United is a big one that Sir Jim has got to handle. And it has been confirmed that indeed they spoke about this, but seems to be a point of disparity between the two parties on how exactly this is going to be handled, especially the boss Eric Ten Hag and how much he will have to contribute when it comes to transfers. But what we know for now is that I think he has got a reasonable say. But when the structure changes, we bring in Paul Mitchell and Dan Ashworth, as it is being reported, things might change. That's it for now. I will be seeing you a bit later. This is the Transfer Corner here on the United Hotspot, where we get to follow every story concerning Man United, player movements, and of course, the in and outs and everything. My name is Webb. Subscribe. I'll catch you later, fam.